What is happening, everyone? It's GBall, and I have a knife here to unbox for you coming in from Real Steel. This is going to be a new release for them called the Esca, and it is going to be in their more affordable side of their catalog. These are going to typically come in right around 39 bucks. Now, if this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Drop a comment below. Let me know what your EDC is looking like today. So this is going to be a little fifth pocket folding knife from Real Steel, the Esca here, about $39. You are looking at 12C27N for the blade steel, and that looks ultra thin. We'll check that here in a few minutes and see what that blade stock is. Also the BTE, pretty cool layout for the handle here. You have a little choke up spot right behind the edge and then a couple of cutouts. Not sure if that's G10 or FRN or what that is. Almost looks like a textured G10, and it wraps around to make like a full length backspacer or backstrap. That looks really good, and that'll help with ergonomics as well. You don't have an open space back there or a completely open space. This is the first time I am seeing this pocket clip here. It looks like you should be able to just rotate that around if you would like. I'll have to correct myself if I'm wrong there, but looks like you might be able to rotate that around. And then you have 3 body screws along with the pivot there, and then those are going to be capped on this side. Companies are funny how they'll do that. A lot of companies put the told side of the hardware on the show side. I've never really understood that. I would have taken all these caps and put them on the show side. Wouldn't that make the most sense? I never really get much feedback from the peanut gallery out there, but wouldn't it make the most sense to have the told hardware on the backside of the knife? That makes sense to me, but I could be completely wrong. Let's get the tape measure out here and see what we're looking at. So from tip to the bottom of that pocket clip, we're at like 5 1/8. We have 2 inches of cutting edge, and we'll call it 2 1/8 of total blade. For size comparisons, we're going to be really fair to the new Esca here. We got the Kaiser Microbe, which is a really small fifth pocket knife, as well as the Civivi Kukai up top, which is another small fifth pocket knife. And you can see that sits kind of in between both of those. And 2 more, we got the Trivisa Andromeda here up top. Great little fifth pocket knife in the budget arena. And then we have the SRM 7229. That's going to be a little bit bigger than something like the Esca. But yeah, there's something about sticking with a design and just devoting everything to making it a secondary size knife. And that's what makes the most sense. You know, go well under 3 and make it a smaller fifth pocket knife, or go a little bit larger and make it a mid-size. We'll get out our 50 ways baked in GBall Vision Hank here and see what this pocket clip looks like in the pocket. It'll carry nice and deep, and that's going to look really clean also. That looks awesome. I like this clip right here. Very minimal, don't have a ton going on with it. I like that aesthetic quite a bit too. Retention seems good to go. Plenty of clearance in there. Yeah, I like that layout. That's not something Real Steel really. That's not something that Real Steel That's not something Real Steel really ever gets wrong, is their pocket clips. They usually do a phenomenal job. Next, we're going to get the arch nemesis out here and give the Esca a little weight check. Now, I like to play a little game here on the channel with the new knives that come in, where I attempt to guess the weight, and I always invite you to play along. You put your guess down in the comments, ounces or grams, whichever you prefer. Even if you already have a comment down there, go ahead and put your guess. And if you're enjoying this video, you like knives and gear, you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed here to the channel. I'm going to give it a go with this little feller here, and I'm going to say that I bet it's down there at like a 1.3 or so. 1.4. These are hard to judge. Hard to judge. 1, 3. Oh! Yeah, we're back, baby. Whew. Stuck with it, see? Stuck with it. 38 grams and 1.3 ounces. So this is going to be ultra lightweight. Not really going to notice this in the pocket. I can say the action is phenomenal on this little fella. You can really throw that blade out there. Speaking of that blade, let's get a couple of measurements on it and the handle. We'll grab our calipers here and start off with the handle. We are zeroed off there, 0.42 and 10.7 millimeters. Go to the blade stock thickness, which is very thin. And that's going to come in right at 2 millimeters, 81 thousandths for the blade stock. So very, very thin stuff. Get a measurement here right behind the edge. And yeah, look at that. 14, 15 thousandths there. That is a good hold too. Woo. Let's see how this little fella cuts out of the box. We'll use our standard catalog paper here. And like I said, I am running low on this stuff. So I'm basically reusing sheets here. We'll figure it out. I'm going to get some new magazines, or we're going to go to notebooks or something like that. But yeah, this feels really good, by the way. Nice edge. The entire thing feels nice and slicey. No snags. No snaggy snags. And it actually occurs to me, and some of you who have been around a little while will remember the Real Steel Viz, which was a knife that came out maybe last year or the year before, and it was an incredible fifth pocket knife, just like this. If I knew exactly where it was, I would get it out and show you. But it's a phenomenal knife. If I remember, I'll pop a pickup of it, a photo of it. But a really, really solid job. Real Steel is another one of them companies who just quietly does a great job each year, and they get better and better each year as well. Hardware check is T8 on the pivot, T6 on the pocket clip, and that's all going to be on the show side. Actually, it's T8 and then T6 on the body, and that's how you'll access that pocket clip. It is most likely got some ridges along the side that prevents it from popping up through that crack right there. At least that's what I'm going to guess. This little fella has really strong springs as well. Like, it makes it so it feels really good to deploy this thing, especially thumb flick. And then of course you can use the crossbar. Reverse flick, if you can learn to keep your index finger out of the way. I would say it's not much for me personally, not much for a reverse flick. I'd be all over this thing, messing it up. But thumb flick, yeah, I would probably, yeah, I just wouldn't. Thumb flick to me is a great feeling. When you get a knife that just feels good to thumb flick, to me, it's really satisfying, but I find them all pretty satisfying, to be honest. Let's run this thing through a couple of checks, and then we'll introduce it to the spine whacker. Perfectly centered up there. We can go off that crack here in the wraparound scales, and that is perfectly centered up. As I've said several times, springs feel good in there. We're going to check for any movement up or down, side to side, in a circle. Nope, I don't feel anything. The tabs don't protrude out too far. I like that. You know, I think no matter what, they'd have to be completely recessed for me to be able to reverse flick it. And even then, because I want to hug this side with my index, I just don't think it, you know, not going to happen. Not with my hand, at least. Anyway, definitely a thumb flicker for me. So now it is time to get the old spine whacker out here and see what the old Esca is made of, or the new Esca I should say. we are going to give this a light tap to get going. And we're going to close it and check it. Another good shot there in the middle. Another good one. Very good. That's all we really need to do to this little guy. Just so we know that they're keeping up with, you know, at least me testing this knife in and knife out gives us an idea on each company. You know, is it happening? How often? Which knives? That sort of thing. And that's one thing I can say is routinely SRM and Real Steel, you know, same OEM, they do a phenomenal job with their crossbar locks. Really, really good stuff comes out of that factory. And they're doing their own thing too, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? They're not really doing follow, you know, doing the follow game. So I appreciate that. Put them there with like Trivisa and a few other companies that just quietly do a killer job each year and get better and better. You'll have to let me know, what do you think of the little Esca here? Little fifth pocket knife. I can dig it. I have come around more and more, as I've said, on these little secondary size fifth pocket knives and found use for them as like a tertiary carry. Just a little do-it-all knife, right? Just a little slicer to have with you to kind of handle whatever and let your premium knives rock out, you know, that type of idea. And it don't hurt to have a little knife like this that don't weigh a whole lot, but still give you a nice pokey, piercy, slicey blade. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. And XL would be really sweet too. Could you imagine this scaled up? That would be really nice. You'll have to let me know what you think of the Esca here. I look forward to hearing from you. Hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you want to see more dope knife and EDC content just like this, make sure you're subscribed here to the channel and ring that bell. I will have a link down in the description over to the Esca. And if I can get you a discount code, that'll be down there as well. I'll pop up a couple of new videos you haven't seen yet. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.